A Super Bowl champion.
The Green Bay Packers have won the Super Bowl.
The Packers' all-time leading scorer.
A game winner for Mason Crosby.
It's time for the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nellis, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers, on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and on the free Odyssey app.
It is the Mason Crosby Show, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Tommy Wirtz in for Mitch Thunder Nellis, joined by the Packers' all-time leading scorer, Mr. Mason Crosby. Good afternoon, Mason.
What's up? It is high noon, so we are rolling from 12 to 2. I really appreciate everyone jumping on. And we're going to have a heavy show on, obviously, everything that went on last night, but it is Veterans Day, and we are going to have 3 veterans on the show today, which is going to be awesome. And I want everybody, any veteran, anyone that wants to give a shout-out, go to that Nicolay Law Fan Talk and text line, 414-677-1250. Go to Twitter, where we are live streaming. Go to YouTube, and just give us a message. Let us give us a name, and we'll give them a shout-out on air today. Any veterans out there, appreciate your service. We wouldn't be able to do this here today without your dedication to your service.
Absolutely. I reiterate the same points there from Mr. Crosby. Shout out to all the veterans listening. And I will say this, we had this show kind of planned out without the idea of Green Bay is burning down as we speak, Mason Crosby.
Yeah, maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing that we're just not going to, be able to just dive into all the sadness and the what ifs and the what could have gone differently last night. The whole show here, because if we did that, I might be depressed by 2:00. So, but we do have to talk about this game last night, and there's so many storylines that came out of it. But the biggest thing has to be that the 3 losses that this Packers team has, they've only given up 39 points.
Yeah.
Averaging 13 points a game in those 3 losses. What the heck is going on with the offense in these games?
Yeah, combined 9 points they've lost by. They've lost by 3 in 3 games. This is now when I was bringing these points up, when we were bringing up the points of Cleveland, when we were bringing up the points of Carolina, even Dallas, all of the tone I had was just remember what happened, because if it happens again, then it becomes a pattern. Well, now Jordan Love is without 4 of his top 6 weapons, and the offense is putrid. It's the defense is playoff caliber, dare I say Super Bowl caliber defense, based on how they've played against the rest of the NFL field this year. But it is not going to happen and not going to bring any sort of success if the offense continues to play at this level, Mason.
I just think of back, I don't love the back in the day or whatever, but it's just like if at any point Aaron Rodgers had this defense, where they were giving up 13 points a game, what is going on?
Yeah.
So what do we look at? What do we say is going wrong with this offense? There's a lot of things to kind of break down. Obviously, schematically, I sent you a clip earlier. Our good friend Ben Kurt, who we need to get back on at some point, was breaking some things down. And then you sent me another clip where they showed when they go into a 3rd or 4th and short situation.
Hurry up,
and they no huddle, and they're trying to get a play off quick and kind of catch the defense off guard. They've literally run the same play every single time this season.
Yeah.
It seems like there's probably other times, but there were at least 4 or 5 moments throughout the course of the season.
All in different games, too.
And that is why the Eagles, literally well coached, watched film, knew what they were doing. As soon as Jordan and that offense got to the line, they knew what play they were running in that 4th and short situation. I mean, there's a minute and a half on the clock, 30 seconds on the play clock. I love no huddle. But no huddle doesn't mean run to the line and just get the play off as quick as you possibly can.
Right.
It's get to the line, get set, see how they line up against you, and then sort things out. Aaron, we used to do that all the time, where it was you'd run up and then you would get to, and it'd be all right, slow down. We got time. I'm going to sort everything out, get guys going. They didn't even run routes on the outside. Like, it was just like, it was going to be a run play. Nobody else had any obligation to do anything on that field.
Want to get to the phone lines? Nicolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250. Brian in McGuanago. Good afternoon, Brian. How are we doing today?
Good morning, guys. I got a statement to make, but one quick question. Mason, do you still got it in you to give a game-winning field goal? Because, boy, that's a 911 call.
I know. Hey, that's tough. I did not envy McManus having to go out there and try a 64-yarder after he had only kicked one extra point in the game. Like, those are tough tasks for NFL kickers, no doubt.
I would just like to say that in your career, at least minimum 5 times, probably closer to 10. I think I threw my shoulder jumping up with your game-winning field goals.
Oh, well, I appreciate it.
But my statement is to make. I think we have a declaration to make. We now have the dumbest trifecta in the NFC North for the first time in 35 years. We've got a moron for a coach. He's yelling, kin, and he's doing the same play. And the Eagles are calling out the call, and they still run the play. Matt LaFleur is a moron. I've never, in all my years of football, and we're talking 50-plus years, that I've seen a coach that holds the red flag with his back to the field, phoning friends on a group chat. What do I do next? It's like he's panicking. What if there was a bad call on defense? He's the only one with the red flag. What do they do? Man. And he seriously was into that tablet so long. I mean, I could say maybe a split second, a few seconds here, making adjustments quick. He looked like he was planning the game plan right there for 15 minutes on the sidelines. He has no second half adjustments. And I'm going to tell you, and the GM, we've got to have the dumbest trifecta ever. And I feel really, and I hate to say it because I bleed Packer cheese, is that it's incredible to see that they don't make no change, no draft. I mean, look at the Eagles. They had a stat last night. He leads the league in trades. He just made like 4 or 5 trades at the deadline. You don't worry about your draft picks because 75% of the times those bust out. It's a win me now league. It's not winning out for the next 10 years in the Super Bowl. You got to win now. And the GM is very passive. Yeah, he made the trade for Parsons, but there's still time to play out to see if that was a good trade or not. But in the big picture, seeing that coach in all the plays around in the game with, Jacobs open in the flat and Christian Watson wide open in the center of the field, and he keeps throwing the Melton. I swear he had Melton on his own fantasy team. It was incredible. It seemed like he got the ball 15 times in the second half. Christian Watson's running wide open in the middle of the field at least 2 or 3 times. How does Melton get all those targets, him and Wicks? Guys that you really wanted to get rid of. They're only there because of necessity.
They just might not have been covering them. They're just like, all right, throw it to those guys.
No Jordan Reed, no Tucker Kraft. You got an injured Dubs that goes in the third quarter, and you don't throw it to the guy you were so happy to get back with all the speed. You keep throwing to Melton. If they out of desperation as the wide receiver because he's failing in the cornerback room. I mean, it's pathetic. We literally have the dumbest coach in the NFC. When you in the NFC North for sure. Because if you look at the coaches now, they're bullish. Like the Lions coach is a mad dog. The Lions coach is a mad dog. And the intelligence of the Minnesota coach, they're struggling now with injuries. But LaFleur looks lost. He looks confused. He looks like he doesn't know what to do. He's just.
I love day after reaction. I love this. But
him looking at that tablet just goes to show you the direction that our Green Bay Packers are falling into.
Brian, thanks for the call. Have a good one, my man.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
There he is, Brian in McGuanago. Do you want to react to that, or do you want to get to the next guy real quick?
Oh, we got someone else. All right. Let's keep it going.
Ron,
I love it.
Ron in Rome, you're on the Mason Crosby show. How do you feel
Let's
today,
get our ranting
Ron?
on.
Well, I was at the game yesterday, and I'll just tell you, I'm a gold package ticket holder. So last year, we're so excited that we got 3 division games, and then I was excited that we had a marquee play against the Eagles. All 4 games, we came out flat. We looked like crap. Our division record was 1-5, and that's only because of a block kicker. Could have been 0-6, and I wouldn't be surprised if we go 2-4 now in the division. But that's not, I don't want to rant forever. My one main question, Mason, was when you were kicking and doing a great job, if you were injured, would you have hesitated to tell the coach, I don't feel up to, I'm 100%, and you have a capable replacement. Why don't you put me on IR? Instead, I have to hear from Troy Aikman that McManus said that he's not fully healed.
Well, I'm a bad person to ask that because I did play every game that I suited up that I ever had the option to there with the Green Bay Packers. But yeah, I think if there was something where I was not capable of going on the field and executing my job at the level that I thought I needed to, and I was going to put my team in jeopardy, I would have done something there. But I also wouldn't have had – I just didn't like the rhetoric where it was like, oh, he's dealing with this quad thing and like the excuse around it. Like I would never allow anyone to put an excuse around my kicking. If I missed a kick, it's not because I was injured. It's because I missed a kick. It's because I didn't do my job in that moment. So to put lack of success on the field due to an injury, I don't think is a good place. And that speaks to kind of a mindset of what's going on up there a little bit. It's like, there's all these outside things that are making us not be the best version of ourselves. And that's never a space that I like to step into, no doubt.
And then my other question is, I knew Elliot Wolf since he was 9 years old.
Oh,
The
yeah.
kid was personally tutored by Ron Wolf. It's like if you wanted to repair some of the paintings in the Sistine Chapel, wouldn't you naturally go to Michelangelo's son to do it? And when he worked for the Packers, everybody that knew him thought as soon as Ted Thompson left, Elliott's going to be the next GM. Elliott's Patriots are 8-2 now.
Yeah, well, I think yes. I think Elliott is kind of shaping himself up to see if like a return home at some day could be an option. I will say, okay, this is not popular day after reaction, but it's like, all right, let's see how the season plays out. If they can figure this thing out and get it back, back on track and find their way into the playoffs, still have an opportunity to go win the division, we might feel differently. But in this moment, those question marks are looming. And Ed Policy has openly come out and just like he did not extend. He did not, go ahead and give them the olive branch and the stamp of approval. He's saying you have to prove it because we want to go win championships. And that has to be the goal in Green Bay every year, every week.
All right. Thank you, Mason.
Have a good one, Ron.
Appreciate
Thanks for calling in. Nicolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250 if you want to be a part of the Mason Crosby show today. And I don't want to necessarily say that I was all in with Brian and McGuanago right there when he was going off, but I think he brings up a point of like everyone's mad at Matt LaFleur this morning and everyone's mad at Jordan Love this morning. But yesterday I had rage at some of the personnel decisions, which I believe falls on general manager
out on the field, right?
Brian Gutekunst. I like, hear me out, Mason. Aaron Banks caught the biggest contract we've seen an offensive lineman get for Green Bay in free agency ever, and I can't believe he plays on the football field sometimes. Jordan Morgan was first round pick that everyone was in the moment. Everyone was questioning, and it's rightfully so, it looks like at this point. And Mason, Bo Melton, whose decision was it that Bo Melton has to be on this team so he can play both sides of the ball? He's going to transition to corner, but instead now we're going to put him back at wide receiver because everyone is injured right now in the offensive weaponry. I'm starting to look at some of the moves, and I understand he brought in Micah Parsons, best defensive player that Green Bay's ever traded for, all this great stuff. But there are some questionable moves now when you look at it from a bird's eye.
Yeah. Let's just talk on Bo Melton. I know you were like, and it's not his fault that he had to play in that game. I mean, it's like you have injuries at wide receiver. You have your Matthew Golden who couldn't go, because of an injury and couldn't practice during the week, didn't feel comfortable. There's so many other things where it's like you saw guys lining up wrong. I mean, Bo Melton lining up. How many reps do you think he got during the week, in those situations? And again, that's in my mind, if you go out, like that's on Jordan Love, that's on the team. Like you're standing next to the guy. If he hasn't been on the field, like tell him to get back. Like know your jobs, like inside and out all the time. So like for me, that is like from the top down. Like you are not detailing your stuff during the week. You're not coaching these players all the way. The Bo Melton play on the punt where he goes into the end zone, doesn't reestablish his feet, hits the ball. And then they're all calling like for a safety. They didn't even like, it seemed like none of the players knew the first touch rule. I mean, the announcers didn't know it. Troy and Buck are over there like, oh, it could be a safety. That was a huge mistake. It's like, know the rules first and foremost.
Yeah.
Like that was one of the biggest things. Like I always remember my time there it was monotony, but we would just go, you would just like learn football, like know all the ins and outs so you can unleash it on the field and play at a high level because you are so trained. So Bo Melton, I don't blame him.
No,
I
don't either.
It's like you're blaming good. Like, what was the plan? Like, you went and got Micah Parsons, but you didn't like shore up like some safety nets or go get a stud wide receiver or go like really set this offense apart. You just kind of said, all right, we'll roll with it. We'll get a big offensive lineman in Aaron Banks. Did anyone even like kind of evaluate him, or is this like, oh, he's the biggest option available? Like, he's a big guy. And I have to question the move. And I hate that Elton got hurt last night, but moving him to center, like I've been hesitant about saying much on it. Like, horrible decision. Like, he needs to be playing guard. Move him to another guard. If you want Aaron Banks, move him to the right. Let him play right guard. Sean Ryan, actually, when he came in, I thought he did a fine job at center. Like, it just seemed like better for him. He's not thinking as much. Like, he can just kind of do his thing there. So there's a lot going on up there.
And on top of it, Mason, another point from McGuanago that I wanted to touch on there. I know you say you're a bad example to ask, hey, I wouldn't, would you sit out if you had to, or would you say that I'm the guy who's hurt to go in? I've known you for a year, and I can safely say that I do think you wouldn't at least go talk to Troy Aikman and tell them that you're semi-healthy this week. You are very particular with the words you say, and that felt like something that was not responsible to say during that situation, and especially when you're the only team with 2 kickers on the active roster, and then you're out here saying, I kind of feel good this week for the first time. Like, what is that, Mason? What is that?
It's not a good look. This whole situation has been kind of weird. I mean, yes, Haversick comes in, does a great job, fine job for 2 weeks. Not that McMahon, I think Brandon, maybe like if he hits it perfect, could hit a field goal that far. Like if he's, feeling pretty good, but you do have a guy on the roster, on the active roster, that has already hit a 61-yarder. I feel like, if you ought to try a 64-yarder, maybe Haversick would have been a better guy in that situation in that moment. They didn't try a 59-yarder. They didn't try like a 57-yarder at some point in the game. And those things now in the NFL are like, those are kind of like understood. You're going to kick those kicks, right? Like, wasn't it 4th and 9? Like, it would have been a 58 or 59-yarder, and they went for it on 4th and 9.
Yeah.
I just like, I don't understand that in a game that feels like it's going to be this points are going to make a huge difference. I don't understand not rolling with someone that is fully healthy and can do all the things.
It is the Mason Crosby Show. We are presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. Couple shout outs, Mason, on the talking text line. I'm sure people would rather hear you say it than I say it. So I know we got a couple military shout outs to get to before we hit to a break.
Yeah, let me throw this one out here from the 218. My son, Cole Wilson, a huge Packers fan from Superior, Wisconsin, and overseas with the 148th Fighter Wing out of Duluth, Minnesota.
Awesome.
Oh, my gosh. Yes, thank you. Thank you for your service. Carrie from Tosa, shout out to my husband, Bob, 21-year Navy vet who struggles daily with the demons. God bless all of our veterans. Oh, man. Sorry for that struggle, and I appreciate your service. Let's see. What else we got here? Oh, gosh, we got some ranters going. Yes. We got 773. Mark and Eagle here was am I reading that right? They're kind of messed up.
It's all over the place. Goody doesn't do anything.
Goody doesn't do anything well. Yeah.
He'll trade for he did make the trade for Parsons. All he did was get the best defensive player in the league. I think
not like a hard thought though, right? I think he's saying it's like they're not getting like those players that are just kind of like, oh, it's sneaky good. You're building a roster.
And hey,
they're all right. He's the best player in the league. We can bring him in. He should be good.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. And I think he's been great. I really do. I don't think that they would regret that trade. I do think that they regret the evaluation of their team before that trade is where I think this is going right now. Coming up on the Mason Crosby Show, we're going to recognize one of our veterans for a little bit on the other side with our good friends from Verizon. Eric Greenlee is going to join the show for a little bit. We'll continue on with Packers Talk. Pack show. We got Air Force Academy head coach Troy Calhoun coming on at 12:40. Nate Boyer, former Green Beret, and Seattle Seahawk will join us at 1:20. But we're talking Packers all day. Please flood the text line 414-677-1250. You can join us on X or YouTube as well, commenting on this Packers 10-7 loss over the Philadelphia Eagles. It is the Mason Crosby Show. We are presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. Welcome back to the Mason Crosby Show. Tommy Wirtz in for Mitch Thunder Nellis, joined by the Packers' all-time leading scorer, of course, Mr. Mason Crosby.
What's up?
And we wanted to give a good thanks out to all our veterans today. And we really want to hone in on our good friends, our sponsor of the show, Verizon. They do a lot of awesome, great work with veterans in our country. And when we were having this idea to have a great special Veterans Day show, we had to reach out to our good friends over at Verizon to see if they wanted to help us out in getting a veteran to come on today's show. And they did. A 6-year Army National Guard veteran, Mr. Eric Greenlee, joining the Mason Crosby Show. Eric, how are we doing this afternoon?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing well, Eric. Doing well.
Hey, Eric, this is Mason Crosby. Really appreciate you jumping on, and thank you for your service. Just means so much for our freedom, for what we get to do on a daily basis. It's so important for us to honor you on this day and every day, but especially here, we need to take this time and give you that thanks. So really appreciate you, and I want to give you the opportunity to tell everybody about your service, being in the the Air National Guard, Army National Guard, for 6 years. Tell us about life in Wisconsin with your family, and just kind of give us an update on what's going on.
No, everything was cool. So I did. I signed up in 2014. Was out in 2020. 2014, I was 17 years old, still in high school. Basic training right away, and then couple months after basic training, I deployed out to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Spent about a year out there.
Wow.
It was interesting, to say the least. And then other than that, it's pretty relaxed couple of years after that. And then unfortunately, with the instances in 2020 with the riots and stuff that happened, I was involved with that, helping out Wisconsin, keeping our city safe in Milwaukee, Kenosha, Madison.
Very good. Yeah. So obviously such an important role, that the Army National Guard plays to step into those spaces and keep everyone safe and kind of try to keep regulation going. I do want to talk a little bit about, because we were connected to you through Verizon. They have an amazing program. We've had Verizon and Andy Brady on a few times talking about what they do for veterans. And we know that you got a letter from Forgive Co. Here recently or at some point. Tell us about that and what that experience was and what went through your mind whenever you got that letter.
Yeah, so originally they reached out via text message, and in 2025 here, everything seems like a scam. So I was like, oh, whatever.
Right.
If I get a letter in the mail, I'll see what happens. So I think 2-3 days later, I received a letter from Forgive Co. stating, hey, we relieved some of your medical debt from so many odd years ago, and then that debt they relieved is no longer an issue.
Wow.
And quite honestly, getting it, I was still kind of skeptical, but after speaking with actually the CEO, great guy, it kind of opened my eyes. I was like, wow, this is a really cool program. And to my understanding, there's quite a few teams that are actually taking control of it, and volunteering, especially with the Packers, is amazing that they're doing it.
It's so great. And what did that mean for you and your family? You have 3 kids, correct?
Yes, 3 little ones, 7, 5, and year and a half.
Oh my goodness. I've been there. I know how that goes. So just having that weight lifted and that debt relief come in, what did that mean for you and your family, and kind of how you felt about kind of the future and moving forward?
It's one less debt calling, obviously. So that's an issue with everyone, but it's also just a sigh of relief of one less thing that I have to carry on my shoulders throughout the next years and upon, especially, going through the VA and stuff. It gets difficult for them to cover some stuff. So kind of have to reach out, and then those debts build up over time. So, man,
yeah, I can't imagine. And again, with you giving your service to our country, to the Army National Guard, what an awesome program that the Verizon is doing, giving money to debt relief for just what football players get to do on the field, right? It's such a crazy correlation. And so we are so thankful for you and your service. I do want to ask you a little bit about football because, there was a big Packers game last night. I have some inside information on you, but I'll let you tell the people who your fandom lies with. I had a big fandom thing yesterday that I talked about in my extra points. So I don't believe you're a Packers fan. Do you follow them? But tell us a little bit about your fandom in the sports world.
So my wife and kids, they're Packers fans through and through. However, I grew up watching the.
So you're raising them right.
Yeah, well, debatable.
Debatable. All right.
But no, I've been Patriots fan through and through for years and years. I just kind of grew up watching them, and I played football for so many years, and I really idolized Randy Moss and the way Tom Brady played. Just watching them guys kind of throughout the years of me playing, I really studied them, and it was it's one of those things that kind of stuck.
Yeah, and they're looking good right now. They're playing some good ball, so you got to be happy watching them on Sundays. We got Eric Greenlee. He was an Army National Guard serviceman for 6 years. Just awesome to be able to celebrate you, appreciate you on this Veterans Day, and just say, thank you so much for your service. I do have to ask a few questions. Verizon connected us, so I want to know, how long had you been a Verizon customer? Was this have you been a Verizon customer for a long time, or what is your relationship there prior to getting this debt relief?
So I've been with Verizon, their carrier, probably 20 plus years.
Nice.
And then under my own name, probably about 10 years now. So I've definitely had them for. I remember my first phone was a Razor flip phone, and I had Verizon. Man. So
those are the best. I got one more question for you that I want to just give you an opportunity to speak to other veterans out there. If you had anything to say to anyone that maybe is struggling or going through something, or just anything that you want to say to other veterans out there across our great country, what would that be right now?
I'd say just keep on keeping on through life. Obviously, we understand veteran suicide is very, very prominent in our culture. It's happening every day, 22 a day at least. And it's okay to reach out and ask for help. I'd say that's the most important thing. It's the hardest thing to do, but that first step of reaching out and just saying, hey, I need help. I'm going through something mentally. It needs to happen, and we got to get rid of the stigma of the tough guy attitude and get the help so we can keep our country healthy, safe, and moving forward.
Well said, Eric. Eric Greenlee, Army National Guard serviceman for 6 years, a veteran, a Verizon customer. Thank you to Verizon for connecting us, and thank you so much for your service. Really appreciate you, Eric.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on the show, and you guys have a great day.
Yeah, you as well. Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you for your service as well. It doesn't end with just Eric Greenlee. Thank you again to Verizon and to Eric for jumping apart and being a part of the Mason Crosby Show today and every day as well. We have Air Force Academy, Troy Calhoun, head football coach, coming up. We'll talk a little ball. We'll talk a little Veterans Day as well. And man, people are upset that I'm calling out Brian Gutekunst on the talking text line now. I mean, just people think, who's this moron? I'm on this show every day. I'm a moron every day on this show. Mason already calls me out for it all the time. But
I don't know. Were they talking to you or one of the callers?
I'm 90% sure it's about me. When moron came up talking about Brian Gutekunst, he named 10 players on a roster of 53. So that's awesome. Great. Yeah, good job. Troy Calhoun, coach of Air Force, coming up next here on the Mason Crosby Show. Welcome back to the Mason Crosby Show. Tommy Wirtz in for Mitch Thunder Nellis, joined by the Packers' all-time leading scorer. Thanks to Eric Greenlee and Verizon for hooking us up with a great, community veteran, like just in your community right there. Verizon doing a lot of great work. They do great work with the Mason Crosby Show and, of course, with veterans as well, Mason.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. It's always so good, even though he's a Patriots fan, it's always nice to catch up. Our veterans just give so much of themselves for such a long time. It's awesome what Verizon is doing to relieve that debt.
And another very special guest joining us now. Looks like we're all good in the waiting room there. Head football coach on the fan guest hotline powered by Gruber Law of the Air Force Academy, Mr. Troy Calhoun joining us. Mr. Calhoun, thank you so much. You have no idea who these random people, well, you know who Mason is, but you have no idea who this random kid. I call up the Air Force. I just made a phone call to the Air Force, and I was like, hey, this shouldn't be a problem, right? And they're like, oh, actually, the government completely shut down. This is a massive problem to ask for him right now. And you still found a way to work. And hey, at the buzzer, we're all back in business. Mr. Calhoun, how are we doing today?
Hey, awesome. What an honor it is to be a part of such a great show, too.
Yeah, really appreciate you jumping on, and appreciate you being a part of the Air Force and your service as we're celebrating veterans today, and just kind of throwing that out there. I actually have some interesting football questions as I'm looking through your coaching tree in your career, and one of the things that I feel like I don't ask coaches a lot because I see that you coached in the NFL, you've obviously coached in college for a long time. Which one do you? Obviously, you've been a coach for Air Force for a long time. Enjoy that. But what are the nuances of coaching at the pro level versus the college level? And then obviously now with NIL and transfer portal as NCAA is changing, I'd love some insight into how that feels, in this new age of college football.
Yeah, Mason, you asked really, you kind of delved into about 4 different areas.
I know. I know. Deep, a lot of stuff.
When you coach in the National Football League, the way it's all football, how awesome that is. How fortunate we were to be a part of 2 great organizations, certainly with the Denver Broncos under the leadership of the owner, Pat Bowlen. Unbelievable football coach, should be a Hall of Famer, and Mike Shanahan. And then also to work with another great football mind in Gary Kubiak. Mm-hmm. That was as fertile as it gets, and was fortunate even in Houston. You'd walk into that staff room and Gary Kubiak was the head coach, and Mike Sherman was sitting next to you, and we had Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDaniels and Robert Saleh, and those were awesome times. And you talked about college football too. You're right. In this current age, when it comes to NIL, the transfer portal, and the whole bit. And then to be somewhere where we don't have access to any of that. We aren't allowed because our guys are government employees to offer any kind of NIL when that comes to the recruiting part of it. And we do not take transfers here at the Air Force Academy, yet guys can still leave and go to other schools. So, a lot to juggle there. And yet at the same time, if we'll hang in there here in 2027, certainly in 20 or even sooner in 2026, we are playing so many new guys right now. The landscape is drastically different. And the best way probably to compare it, there used to be a time here when you'd play 10 or 11 games and the bodies were similar because they were similar in age. Then all of a sudden we'd play BYU and you said, oh my goodness, these guys are 23, 24 years old because they'd gone on a 2-year mission, a good number we thought drastically different. Well, now pretty much every game feels like you're encountering BYU.
Yeah, exactly. Right. All the transfers, all the different moves there. I actually, so I'm living down here just south of Nashville in Brentwood, Tennessee. And I believe there's a couple players from this area that are coming up to Air Force Academy in this coming year.
Well, I can't comment on that, certainly.
It's not yet, right?
That's right.
I've heard the rumors.
Yeah. Mason, that is a really, really good area. How much it's grown, the quality of the schools there. Those are really ideal pockets. And another area where, patriotism matters, playing good football, and again, the academic piece.
Well, Troy, I feel like that is such an important part, right? You get to go into homes and you're going and visiting these student athletes that want to give more of themselves than just playing the game of football. Like, they are going into service for their country. And so, like, you probably go into these homes all the time, these schools, and you kind of know right away the type of guy, the type of player that is going to be interested in coming and that you want to be there at the Air Force Academy. Talk about that recruiting process going into those schools and those homes.
Yeah, you get right to it. I mean, it doesn't get past the initial small talk, and just know that the academic component's huge here. We are still test mandatory, which means you have to have over a 1200 SAT or a 25 plus ACT. The curriculum background includes, at a minimum, pre-calculus, chemistry, and physics. And then, as you mentioned, the service component, to know that, all right, you come to the United States Air Force Academy. What that entails is when you graduate, when you're 22 years old, you're going to serve for our country. And it takes a lot of the selling, the salesmanship right out of it, and you get to the real meat and the real substance of it. And we're really looking for a unique guy, right? Somebody that's bright, again, a really, really strong student, and yet the character and the leadership qualities, and somebody that is willing to serve. And that's usually not only a 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid, it's also having the backing and the support of their family, the parental part of it too, because there is a lot going on in the world, and there always will be. It's not just current times in terms of what's happening in the Gaza Strip or in Korea or China or Ukraine or anywhere else around the globe. Those are kind of forevers that pop up here or there over the foreseeable future too.
Head football coach at the Air Force Academy, Troy Calhoun, joining us here on the Mason Crosby Show. Coach, I assume that you're watching football as much as anyone else out here. Maybe not to the same level of fandom that a lot of people are, but when we're talking about the Packers here for like an hour on the show, and they had a football game yesterday that was so bad, and everyone wants to yell and scream, and everyone's calling for a guy's name. Someone's got to pay for it right now, and a lot of the slack going over to a head coach like Matt LaFleur. Talk about a locker room when it's getting hostile in a season like this, and how do you like regroup this locker room? It's not a failed season yet by any means. 5-3-1. The Green Bay's in third in the division. They're still in the playoffs if things ended today, but like, how do you get things back on track when you start to hear a lot of outside noise and you start to hear some people complaining about the product on the field? What goes into that as a coach?
Well, Tommy, forever your focus is on, you always hear the word process, but you're always moving forward. You're trying to pull from background or experiences that occur, because you got to teach, right? That way you don't repeat mistakes as you go forward. But you're always getting your guys to look forward. That's leadership 101. What's crucial, and Mason knows this better than anybody, the caliber of people you have in a locker room. My goodness, the length of a season, not only 17 regular season games, but the duration of a training camp, the exhibition games. When you're in it for that long, well, you got to have guys that add to the chemistry of a group, because there are going to be ups and downs no matter where you work, especially in the National Football League. And honestly, it's the same way here. You just got to know, you know what? Yeah, there are going to be bumps. There are going to be plenty of hurdles. And when there are good stretches too, let's stay grounded well enough just to know that let's focus on ultimately what you really can get your hands on and control.
I love that, Coach Calhoun, how you said the teaching, right? I do feel like teaching, coaching, like just kind of still drawing that out of the players. I do feel like sometimes that is a lost art, especially as you get to the NFL, but it's so important because adversity will show your true character, right? If you're a selfish person and you get hit in the mouth, you're going to be more selfish in that moment, and make sure you take care of yourself. And so the real character is going to show itself here for teams that have these adverse moments. Something I've always been curious about there at the Air Force Academy. Obviously, you think Air Force, you think flying planes, doing all that. You got big offensive, defensive linemen. What are some of the roles that your student athletes go into after they're done playing football for you?
Yeah, awesome question. So when they graduate, you're 22 years old, you're going to go serve for our country, either in the Air Force or the Space Force, as we feed both. We produce the leaders, the officers for each one of those branches of service. And you're right, Mason, a good number go to pilot training. And I'll tell you honestly, I probably over 90% of the guys that come here initially because of football really had no military background at all. They came here because of the quality of the school, the friendships, the camaraderie's real here, the caliber of football, that you are able to play. But it sure is neat to see when a guy's flying an F-22 or an F-35 or you get off an airline flight and lo and behold, there's a guy that's 32
awesome.
that you saw him back when he was 17 years old. A good number going to business opportunities. I mean, we are the business part of things when it comes to purchasing hardware, software. It could be, any kind of acquisitions, the contracting, the finance part of it. That's very real just because of the responsibilities that come, the fiscal part of it, handling taxpayer dollars that way. We have a good number that go become engineers, either aeronautical engineers, astronautical engineers. Could be in civil engineering, mechanical engineering, really, really good career fields. And then a good number that go into the Space Force too, whether it's in cyber. Guys, I'm just telling you, hope it doesn't happen. But if there's another major conflict, a lot of it's going to be who can take out or who can jam each other's satellites.
Right.
So they can't communicate. All of a sudden, you don't have GPS.
Yeah.
That drastically changes things. And then the special operations part of it too. We're really, really involved. You don't always hear that about the Air Force, but just, man, the special tactics officers, the things that are done with the combat controllers, amazing. And we're going to be at the tip of the spear. If there's a real concern about a nuclear facility, let's say in Iran.
Yeah.
Right?
Coach, I get it.
Somebody else got it. Somebody's got to. You have a good number of guys that are flying a 35-hour mission with the refuelers and all the tactical and the reconnaissance part of it. That's as applicable as it comes.
Coach, thank you so much. We're up against the clock. I
All right,
appreciate
Tommy.
it.
Yeah, thanks so
We're going
much.
to have to do this again. We loved it. Thank you, Coach.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. See
Thanks
ya.
so much.
There he is, Coach Calhoun over at the Air Force. On the other side, more Packers talk on the Mason Crosby Show.
A Super Bowl champion.
The Green Bay Packers have won the Super Bowl.
The Packers' all-time leading scorer.
A game winner for Mason Crosby.
It's time for the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nellis, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers, on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and on the free Odyssey app.
Hour number 2, the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. Tommy Wirtz, Packers all-time leading scorer Mason Crosby here. Thank you so much to the Air Force Academy and Coach Calhoun for joining us there. That had potential to be like interview of the year, and then we have this hard clock now.
I know the hard clock kills us.
That did kill us there. But I mean, I already reached out, said he was great. We'll have to see if we can catch up after the season because he's got a football brain too. You can tell to that guy as well. Like
I was about to dive deep into his like coaching mindset.
Yeah.
Like we were gonna go into the weeds, so we'll have to get him back on so I can get all those questions out of the hopper.
Maybe we can convince him for a Green Bay coaching job one day.
Gosh,
that's where everyone is right now. And I want to catch up a little bit on the Nicolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250. We're talking Packers all hour still. Don't get me wrong. If you want to join the show, talk, comment on the Packers-Eagles game.
Who do you want to see get
football.
fired? Who do you want to see get fired? Who needs to go?
It feels like that someone's got to be punished for what's going on, right?
Why is that like the culture now is like someone must go down for this for this loss.
And maybe it's me from the 414. Who's this moron on the air with Mason? Whose decision was it to draft Edgerrin Cooper, Quay Walker, Rashawn Gary, Devontae Wyatt, Evan Williams, Zach Tom, Elton Jenkins, Jordan Love, Tucker Kraft, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, and Matthew Golden? Could have left the last guy off for now, probably. But also signing Xavier McKinney and Josh Jacobs and traded for Parsons. Yeah, he sucks. LMAO. Look, I get it. I'm not saying that Goody should be in this like fire mode right now, but watch. Just remember, that's where I was at with Matt LaFleur for a lot of this, right? It was, hey, I told Sparky yesterday I was concerned if the game came down to a close game at the end that was a coaching decision for the Green Bay Packers and the Philadelphia Eagles. Nick Sirianni did his best to lose that football game.
Sure he did.
Why would you go for it on 4th and 9 at the middle of the field?
Throw just a deep jump ball.
No reason at all. He made a lot of boneheaded mistakes. Philly is not happy about that win at all. They feel like they look fraudulent after that game against Green Bay. But right now,
they at least know that they won't get called on false starts on their tush push still.
I mean,
that was insanity.
That
was insanity.
I really don't want to be the guy who's saying ban the tush push because I also believe that the play is totally fine and is totally a football play.
Don't ban it, just call false starts. If two guards are literally past the ball before what was it? Jalen Hurts is like leaning forward, hadn't gotten the ball yet. Because like the center was still holding on to it. Like you have to call it. They let a couple go on the Packers early in that game because they had a couple false starts that they let go. And then they had the one that they called there. So I'm like, okay, they called that. I feel like the Packers were almost pushing that envelope because they knew the tush push was going to come at some point. So they're like, all right, let's see if they're going to call anyone jumping off sides.
Right.
And false starting. And they got away with a couple early. Then they got called. And so I'm like, all right, it's almost good the Packers got called. I figured tush push, if the Eagles try to cheat, they're going to get called on it. And then they don't. And it was one of the most blatant false starts that the Eagles have probably ever done on the tush push. I mean, those two guys were almost a yard in front of the ball before it was snapped. It was crazy.
I can't believe it. It is the Mason Crosby Show. We are talking Packers, Eagles. Heading out to the phone line, Nicolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250 if you want to be a part of the show. We got Aaron in Appleton jumping on the Mason Crosby Show. What's up, Aaron?
Hey, how you guys doing today?
We're doing all right. How you
doing? All right.
I'm just wondering how can the offense get back to consistency, because everything starts up front, and if the offensive line can block, if the offensive line can get back to its basics, Love will have protection and he'll find his open receivers, but I don't know. I'm not sure how
Yeah.
the offensive line can develop consistency.
Yeah. Thank you, Aaron and Appleton. Thanks for jumping on there.
Well, you said, how can they get back to consistency? And that is, it starts up front. Like they have to be better up front. Jordan Love has to be something I saw last night. And I'm not a quarterback. I didn't play quarterback. I watched a lot of great quarterbacks play. And I just remember Aaron's footwork, right? And I remember like Jordan last night had some bad footwork at times. Like it was on some of those things, like it was a shotgun snap, and then he wasn't like getting depth or like moving. Like it was just kind of almost too casual, right? It's like a little more urgency, a little more like detail in the footwork, in like the mechanics of the job. Because I think sometimes in that casual, then it's like once he sees somebody, it's kind of like quick, right? Instead of it being a real processed development of a play. And then, it's just, I don't know. I mean, some of the stuff with the play calls, obviously, I heard some other people talk about it. I've been talking about it for weeks, going into no huddle, more of a tempo offense, which in my mind, no huddle doesn't mean hurry up. It doesn't mean try to catch them off guard. It's not allowing the other team to, like the defense, to sub. They have to stay in a personnel group. If you feel like you have favorable matchups on the field at the time, stay in a tempo, and then you get up to the line and let Jordan Love run the offense. Let him change some routes, change some alignments, do some different things to try to play that chess match. I truly believe that we need to see if Jordan Love can do that. And I'm like, is he not capable? Is that why LaFleur doesn't allow him to do it, or like put him in those positions? Or is it just a control thing and LaFleur just wants to put all these different formations and different personnel groups out there to try to confuse everybody?
More callers coming in here on the Nicolay Law Talk and text line. Let's go out to Superior. We got Jeff. Jeff, how are we today?
Hi, you guys. I hope you can hear me all right. I'm in a rural area.
Sounds good.
Okay. My favorite Green Bay Packer is Bart Starr. I think he had integrity, leadership qualities, skill, ability, and whether he won or lost as a quarterback or a coach, I loved him. I love the Packers because of him. And I just want to encourage fans and players alike that we Green Bay Packer shareholders and fans, we're a cut above. We're not like everybody else in the NFL. So, love your team, do the best you can, and we'll just keep moving forward. That's how I feel.
Hey, I love a little positivity here on this Tuesday after a loss. That's it's much appreciated, and I agree with you. It is easy, right? Whenever you've been spoiled for so long, like a lot of success makes you realize when there's a little failure, a little adversity, it's like, oh my gosh, like I don't know how to feel this way. So I think that's a lot of what we feel on a game day or after a game day where you hit a wall like you did yesterday, have two bad losses in a row. You kind of get this like, wow, I don't know how this feels like. So I think we're dealing with a lot of that, but that's very well said. And I love the positivity.
Couple of texts coming in from the 414, it's from Vintage in West Dallas. It's not about panicking, wanting your coach fired. It's about saving what is ever left of the season. If people don't think that LaFleur has what it takes to win big, meaningful games, then you got to cut bait. Just watch him on the sidelines. He has no calm, no chill. He's a ball of nerves, and you can't be a leader if you show that. Be cool, be calm, be collective. Use your timeouts correctly. I'm just done. Timeouts correctly. I don't know if you can ever talk about that, Mason Crosby, from the sideline perspective, but I will say this, that McCarthy was always stone-faced, it looked like, on the sideline. I don't remember ever seeing emotion out of Mike McCarthy. If he got mad, it felt like it was justified. You knew that it wasn't necessarily his fault. But I don't necessarily know if I've really looked at Matt LaFleur's demeanor hard or body language hard on the sideline, but you have been in a locker room with both of them, Mason. And for me, like from what I've heard them, their personalities couldn't be farther apart, in my opinion.
Very different, approaches to the coaching realm and like how they handle different situations. I will say, so Coach McCarthy, my joke always with him and, whenever I talk about him in general was how he was always so angry when I went on the field, because it was like his offense didn't score a touchdown. His offense didn't do what he was planning on them doing. So every time he called for a field goal, it was like this, furrowed eyebrows, and he's like, kick a field goal, guys, get out there. And I was like, are you like, I'm sorry, this is my job. I'm just going out there doing my job. But I appreciated it because it was like, all right, I better go do my job because coach is going to be double mad if I come off that field and I missed a kick. So that was just kind of, you just kind of knew where you stood. I feel like LaFleur at times, he's trying to put so many different ideas in play that it gets a little like confusing in that locker room, in that space. Something that for me, and I said this last week, and I'll say it over and over again, this locker room needs to take over though. Like, who's the veteran leader? Who are the guys that are going and just being like, we need to take care of business. It needs to be our show. We got to go out there. We're the ones playing in the game. Like, it has to be ours. And again, Jordan Love has to be one of those guys. Like, they don't have any real, like, kind of older, like, outside of the program veteran leaders. Like I had early on in my career where it's like you had Charles Woodson, you had, Driver had been there forever. He was, a lifer. You had Ryan Pickett, you had, Colin Jenkins was outspoken. Like, he'd get in anyone's face and fight him. Johnny Jolly came in and was fiery. And so there were guys that I just knew. I'm not in that locker room, so I don't know if some of those things are going on. But just from the outside looking in, it doesn't feel like there's that, like someone taking the step out in front. Josh Jacobs has been outspoken. He's okay taking that. But I'd love to see Jordan Love take that step where he's like, it's on me. I am the leader of the pack. I am the guy. Like, everything goes through me. Like, Coach LaFleur, like, stop doing press conferences. I'm going to do the press conference, and I'm going to answer for what happened on the offensive side of the ball. Like, I would love to see some of that nuance where it's just like player-driven, player-led. They're taking responsibility, because we got to stop just saying like, oh, it's just coaches. It's just that. Like, the players need to take it over so the coaches can hand it over to them as well.
Want to give a couple shout outs. Thanks for listening to the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network on 99.7 FM WNFL in Green Bay, 93.9 The Game in Wausau, 710 The Game in Duluth Superior, and 1250 AM, and of course 105.7 FM The Fan in Milwaukee. Make sure you follow us on socials at WI Sports Radio for all of your favorite Wisconsin Sports Radio Network topics here. Brand new lineup all the way from 6A to 6P. And contrary to what it might sound like over the last couple of days and next couple of days, I'm not on every show. No, I am not on every show. Yeah, but
the station wouldn't exist without you, Tommy.
The Mason Crosby Show, talking about the Green Bay Packers and the brutal loss yesterday to the Philadelphia Eagles. And it's been a lot of negative right now, talking around Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love's play under criticism, justifiably as well. And I feel like we haven't talked enough about just how putrid this offensive line looks right now, Mason. And it looks like a shell of what this team was last year. And this is an offensive line last year that really benefited from their consistency and their health. Remember, it was 16 of the 17 games. They had the exact same guys out.
Yeah.
And then they got hurt against Philadelphia in that playoff game.
Yeah.
And it went to, what?
Dismantled, yeah.
And now we're seeing it again. Elton Jenkins, a fracture, going to be out a couple of weeks. They already moved him around. Now they're going to assumingly move some other people around to make things work. Like, I don't know how it gets better from this point on the offensive line this year, Mason.
Here's my thing is, again, Aaron Banks hasn't showed up and been the guy that you paid him to be, right? Mm-hmm. And I bet, for me, if I was in that locker room and it's like, no, I came from somewhere else and I got paid a lot, like I just knowing myself, I'd say the same thing about myself. Like, I'd be like, I haven't been the guy. I've been dealing with some injuries, sure. But when I'm out there, I'm not performing at the level that is my standard. So I can't speak for him, but if he's that type of guy, like I think he would say the same thing. Nate Hobbs, not anything that honestly, I didn't have much expectation for him in the first place. Like, that was a little bit of a surprise signing in my mind, last spring, but he's been hurt, not available, not playing well. So you got these guys coming in, but then you also moved your best guard, your best offensive lineman from the position that he has been an all-pro, been a Pro Bowler, been like a stud, and you just say, all right, you're going to be center now for us. And then you didn't find a real replacement for him, right? It's like, all right, we'll put Sean Ryan there or Jordan Morgan. We want Jordan Morgan to be good. He's not good, but we want him to be, so we're going to keep giving him opportunities. And that kind of mindset on the offensive line is just proving to be a mess right now, right?
Yeah.
Like I believe they would have been better served going and signing a big number center if that was the position that they wanted to fill. They already had Elton Jenkins. Why do that?
Well, and they probably would have been better served paying a very reasonable contract to Josh Myers to return back as the center if their plan was, we're just going to move Elton wherever we want to move him because of his versatility and keep him at a guard position, at a position that has struggled for 2 years now on this team at the right guard spot. You could have, or Banks is there, whatever it is. If you're just going to talk about how we're going to move people all around in this organization wherever we want on the offensive line, I told Mitch Nellis this, I believe you heard it too. When we were talking about the offensive line, it was a huge topic of conversation in the offseason. And maybe Aaron Banks made it that big, huge offseason topic. But I talked about it saying that I didn't understand the move to go get Aaron Banks when the offensive line was at a very good, successful level last year for Green Bay. And when we were making our predictions on who was going to be playing, I had said, you can write in Sharpie. I just don't know where you have to write it. Jordan Morgan, because they're going to force his way out onto the football field. And it looks like they are just forcing him to play football sometimes.
Well, we're going to see a lot more of him now with Elton out. Like, I mean, he's got to be out there now, right?
Yes.
Because Sean Ryan's going to move into center. Jordan Morgan's going to be playing that right guard. So we're there, right? And so, yes, I wouldn't have said last year, like at the end of the year, other than the injuries and like putting guys in that weren't expecting to or shouldn't have been playing in that Eagles game. Like that was the big hiccup, but it was depth. It was like developing, getting those guys. Like if you have injuries, that you have good depth to fill in. It wasn't the starters. It wasn't the starting lineup that was the issue. You just needed those depth pieces. So yeah, going and getting again, Josh Myers, everyone wants to hate on him, but like, don't we wish we had him back? Like, don't you wish he had been the center this season so Elton could have been at guard?
Or would you have rather paid $3 million for Josh Myers instead of $76 million for Aaron Banks? Like, I mean, again, it's very early into his contract. There is an out after 2 years, pretty much. There's kind of an out after 1 year, but they have to pay him kind of like $30 million. I think Ken Ingalls was putting up from Packers cap. But I still just, this team is, you've seen the defense. The defense is all world. The defense is legit. The defense is ready to go, ready to win football games. As we brought up, they've lost 3 games by a combined 9 points in those 3 losses right now.
Well, let's do that before we go to the break here on this segment. Let's have a positivity moment. How good is that defense? Edgerrin Cooper, that punch out on Jalen Hurts.
Needed it in that moment.
Like I love seeing plays like that. I mean, just finishing it off, holding the quarterback kind of on McKinney's like rolls him so he's not going down, punch that ball out, get a turnover. Like they did some amazing things all game long. Just, and there were times where the Eagles, all right, they're driving the ball. That was a 16-play drive before, and then it's like, all right, we stop them. So like, yes, the defense is elite. They are good. The offense doesn't even have to be great. They honestly don't even have to be good.
If the offense
this defense,
if they put up 20 points every game, they'd be undefeated with a tie,
which is crazy.
That's it. That's all they have to do. And you know what? Matt LaFleur calling the plays. So
I'm like, are we worried about this Giants game now?
Oh yeah. Are you kidding?
Giants beat the Eagles and put up 30 points on them?
Well, I mean, here's one thing to look at. If it is Russell Wilson, maybe not worried. Okay.
But it was Russell Wilson that beat the Eagles, right?
But first game after head coach fired bump, like that also terrifies me for this Packers team, because Brian Dable getting fired yesterday, and get up. The boys always get up for the interim coach the first game after.
Well, they're all playing for their jobs now.
Right.
Like, all the players are like just trying to show that they're not going to be the ones getting fired after the season as well.
Yeah, I am concerned a little bit about it. I think the Packers are going to be favored. I probably still expect them to win that football game, but you want to talk about like bad spots for Green Bay on the trajectory they've been on the last 2 weeks, and now the Giants, they get the opportunity to prove themselves to a brand new interim head coach. It's a bad recipe. I will also say, if we're talking about shout outs on the defense, Quay Walker needs a contract now. I have no idea I was going to get to that take at all in this season, but Quay Walker, man, I don't know how he figured it out, but he's grown maybe the most of any Packers player on this team, in my opinion. He just stuffs the run game. And when he gets moving, it's a shame that he plays next to Edgerrin Cooper, because you just quite can't appreciate how athletic Quay Walker is in that moment. It feels like sometimes, but those two guys, lock it up, be in the middle of the defense for the rest of your career. If you want,
if you can keep those two together for the next 4 or 5 years, that would be, that would be elite.
Yes.
And then you can like lose and move players, like, and get different pieces, because those two are going to anchor that defense for a long time. Like, they need to sign Quay Walker. I totally agree with you.
Let's keep the Packers talk going. Keep on coming into the Nicolay Law Talking text line if you want to shout out any veterans on this special Veterans Day that we have planned here for the Mason Crosby Show. We'll be talking Packers and Veterans Day all the way up until 2:00 before Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on Wisconsin Sports Daily, who, by the way, also has Joey Ortiz coming up on the show today, because he had some work with Honor Flight as well that he's done. So Joey Ortiz, Milwaukee Brewers shortstop this year, joins at, I believe, 2:40 today.
Love it.
With Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. Let's continue on with the Mason Crosby Show right after this, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Welcome back to the Mason Crosby Show. Tommy Wirtz in for Mitch Thunder Nellis, joined by the Packers' all-time leading scorer. I have some news for you, Mason. Coach Calhoun said he would totally come on again. So
yes.
Nice.
All right.
We'll get that maybe after a bowl win or something like that.
Let's do 2 segments with him.
Yeah, he'll
half a show.
He'll come back later on. That was great. That'll be up on the YouTube page, youtube.com/@WI Sports Radio. Of course, listen to us wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's Apple, Spotify, YouTube as well, where you can do that. We're up on all those platforms. We are talking Packers and Eagles, and I'm sure it's going to continue on in the conversation all day here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. There was a caller calling in earlier. I believe it was Brian in McGuanago, who had a great rant. He needed to get it off his chest. We let him get it off his chest. But he had brought up the comment of coaching and then compared it to the rest of the NFC North, Mason. And right now, looking at it, where does Matt LaFleur rank among the rest of the coaches in the NFC North? You can join the conversation, 414-677-1250. Where do you rank Matt LaFleur among the coaches in the NFC North? I know it's a sample size of 10 weeks now into the first season of Ben Johnson, Kevin O'Connell not having the ideal year with his new quarterback quite yet, and the Lions still look like the Lions as of now. But Matt LaFleur, if he's the play caller and they're losing games because they're not scoring points, we're all looking at you right now, MLF.
Yeah, I mean, that has to be the case, right? I think start this season, I had him probably at 2. I think I had him at 2 behind Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
Like just saying like, all right, with the success, the wins, like what his sample has been to this point, all right, he's probably the second best. Ben Johnson not proven as a head coach, all those things. I mean, like as of right now, like it's crazy that they just fell to 3rd in the division, first off. The Vikings are just kind of, they're inconsistent, but it was almost expected, right? Like it's like the Packers' inconsistency is not like, I don't think that was an expectation for this season, where it's just kind of like, what is that? You play that second half against the Steelers and then you just literally can't play offense for 2 weeks. Like you can't do anything. Like that doesn't make any sense. And so that has to come from the top down and down the coaching tree. Is it just LaFleur, right? I mean, his frustration looking at his tablet and like changing the plays, like there's got to be more going on where it's like whatever plan we put in place clearly was not the right one. Like it looked like he was basically erasing plays, like trying to figure out a whole new game plan on the sideline, which is never a good thing. But it's just like, is he not trusting Stenavich anymore? Is he not trusting his advisors in the offensive side of the ball? Like what is going on there? And if that's happening, then there's a bigger problem than just play calling and what's going on during the game. Right?
Yesterday on Twitter, Matt Schneidman, good buddies with our guy John Kuhn from 9 to noon. They do a show together, and he's a writer for the Green Bay Packers for The Athletic. And he put out on Twitter something along the lines of Matt LaFleur's got to be coaching for his job at this point right now, to which then someone replied, well, then why don't you ask him that? Matt Schneidman, got to give you some props.
I understand you guys are 5-3-1, still have a playoff spot right now, and you're going to say you're always coaching for your job, but you don't have a long-term extension. With the way things have gone this season, do you think you're coaching for your job?
I'm not. I'll leave that for everybody else to decide. I'll just focus on the day-to-day and trying to do. I feel like you're always coaching for everything in this league. You know, that's just my mindset. It's always been that way. You can't ever exhale. You got to always be pushing, and that's just my mindset. So, and that will be my mindset until they tell me not to coach anymore.
I mean, it's a good mindset, and it's great coach speak there, Mason, but I thought he was going to cry at the end of that question. I could hear him.
It is a tough time to ask that question, like right after a loss.
Oh, and it was like 5 minutes into a 15-minute presser. Like this was very in the beginning of the presser still here. I don't want to necessarily say that it's a justified question, but hey, you got to give kudos to Matt Schneidman for someone saying, ask the question, then man of the people. He asked the question.
He asked the question. The verbiage of that as well. Like, I think LaFleur answered it properly because, yes, like in kind of the world of sport, players, coaches, everyone, like you are literally a week-to-week proposition on your performance, right? And how you put the product out on the field, what you did. Not everyone sees the preparation day in and day out. They see what you do on game day, right? So you are just judged by that week, by that moment, by every call that coach is making. So you are always coaching for your job. You're always doing that. I understand that. But yeah, at this moment, I mean, there's got to be some soul searching. And the hard thing to do is not to, like, it's harder to withdraw back, like pull back a little bit and not like do more. Like the easy thing to do, or the mind goes to, all right, we gotta be more creative. We gotta add something. We gotta like really get this thing moving, when in all reality, you just got to go back to the basics, like how this whole thing started. I mean, what they did to the Lions, what they did to the Commander, like they were scoring points. They have scored points, and they scored 40 on Dallas. Like, they have a good team. They have the players to get it done. They just have to execute better. And that is the part that we don't see. I don't know what practice looks like. I'm not sure what is being excused at times, because that's usually in my mind, whenever you see stuff on the field on game day, it means something in practice has been let go. Like they've let a misalignment or a bad route by a receiver, even if they weren't the primary receiver. If somebody does something wrong, you bring it back and you do that play over again, or you start the whole thing over again. That is what the week is for, and that is what practice is for.
Want to get another call in? Nikolai Law talking text line 414-677-1250. Eric in New Jersey. Eric, how we doing today?
Good. How you doing?
We're doing all right.
How much do you think what's going on with this kicking game, right? We had two opportunities to put up 6 points. We're not really trusting Brandon McManus. And, I think the loss is on both LaFleur and Jordan Love, because he didn't play very well. He missed a lot of open receivers.
Yeah. Kicking game wise, I was curious. Obviously, like being in that position for a long time, McManus going in that direction where they went for it on 4th and 9. His line just must not have been there. I mean, yes, we see kickers kicking 60-yard field goals all the time. Some of those indoors, some of them in really ideal conditions. Lambeau Field's a different animal. Like, you can't kick 58-yarders both directions every game there in Green Bay. So clearly the 64-yarder, they felt like maybe that direction, like there was a little help. So obviously the wind was coming in from the north, and just didn't feel like that 59-yarder was one that was I think they look at it as like, it's got to be 70% or better chance to make it. Like, you got to look at the odds there. So clearly the line wasn't there, but yeah, at the same time, it's like, it's just weird. Like, that, right? Like, I always had conversations before games. This is my line. So whenever you get in those weird situations, you would try to play to that. You'd either try to get to that line, or you're calling plays to get past and like get into a better situation. And it just felt like the Packers, like on that, what was it? It was like wasn't it 3rd and 2 or 3? And then he got sacked, took a loss, or like bad plays. And that kept happening in that game. And who'd we talk to last week? Was that Hirschhorn? Yeah. And he was saying that. He was just like, every time this thing gets going, they just shoot themselves in the foot, either self-inflicted, or they draw up a play where Jordan Love gets sacked, or they run a bubble and a guy gets tackled for a loss. Like, it's just like, that is not the play that needs to come in that situation. And so those things have to get cleaned up. And again, a lot of season left. I know it's dire. It feels really rough, but they can turn this around. They have a lot of games to play against division opponents. This could get flipped and go in a good direction. And then here in 4 or 5 weeks, we might be like, they're back. They're going to this. They're going to the playoffs. They're going to win this division. So we take this one, we lick our wounds, and we just say, like, all right, what can we fix from a organization, coaching perspective, player perspective, and then you go back to the drawing board, back to work.
Okay, what if things go sideways next week against New York then?
If they lose to New York, we're going to be really ranting and raving here on the Mason Crosby show, because that just two games like this. I hate that they were both at home though. I hate losing. I hate losing in Lambeau Field. I feel so fortunate we didn't lose a lot in Lambeau Field.
No, we didn't.
So it's just like, I hate the feeling like you cannot lose at home. You have to protect home with everything, every fiber of your being. So losing those two home games, that stinks. If you lose a third in a row to an inferior opponent, and I would even say, watching that game last night, I'm like, the Eagles, like they're not that good of a team. Like they're not a juggernaut. Yeah, they're not a team that I'm just like, oh my gosh, like matchups, like we were outmatched the whole game. But if you go and lose to the Giants, then you're like, you lost 3 in a row, you lost 2 to really inferior opponents. There's a problem here. Like, what are we going to do about it?
It is it's everyone's already trending towards that direction right now. Thankfully, we all have Mason Crosby to be a little positive.
I try to put a little something in there. Did you hear James Jones? He was on this morning talking about something.
No, I've not.
Always like to hear James's input. He's a really heady guy, and again, but like I look at those guys. Like I look at James Jones, Jordy, like Driver, even like Greg Jennings, like the type of players those guys were. Like they were so savvy and heady and like how they played the game. They learned Aaron. They learned how he wanted them to run routes, how they wanted him to play. I'm not sure I'm seeing that from a lot of like the connections right there on the field on the offensive side of the ball. Josh Jacobs, it's like just hand the ball off to Josh Jacobs first play of every game, see what happens, and then we'll kind of go from there. And that's kind of the thing. But James said exactly what I've been saying for a while. Like there's a trust issue there in Green Bay. Trust issue from coaches to coaches, coaches to players, players to coaches. There's a breakdown of trust, because he was saying about how it just why does Coach LaFleur not trust Jordan Love and hand him the keys to this offense? Let him make the hard throws. If he is the type of player that you paid him to be, $200 million, $50 million plus a year, like let him go fall on that sword. If that's the case, unlock him, unleash him. If you're going to only score 7 points in a game, it'd be better off just to say, like, we're going to throw caution in the wind. Let Jordan Love just throw every crazy ball that we can even draw up.
Well,
and let's just go wild.
If you're desperate to try to get blame off you or prove yourself, like what better way to do it than give the keys to a guy who can either elevate you or maybe become the scapegoat in these situations, right? Like,
yeah,
Jordan Love's play is in question now too. Absolutely. And it should be, because there has been some, underwhelming performances from Jordan Love over the last couple of weeks, especially in these losses too. That fumble, man, like you're an NFL player. Like, you know who does that? That's like a Mark Sanchez fumble right there. That's a first round bust type fumble right there. You just can't let the ball fall out of your hands pretty much. And especially he just turns the ball over at the worst time.
Well, they were in field goal range, right? Like, take the sack. Like, it stinks, but just take the sack.
Yeah,
and just live to play another down.
Yeah, there's never a good time to turn the ball over, but the absolute worst time has been every time when he turns the ball over. It feels like so.
Yeah.
We've been talking a lot of Packers. Mason's extra points coming up on the other side. Can still get your veteran shout outs in as well. One more from the 715. This team lacks mental toughness and execution. Offensive line is where it starts. Our guards are awful. We'll come back on the Mason Crosby show and wrap up the show right here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
What's on Mason Crosby's mind today?
Now I'm thinking.
It's time for Extra Points, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nellis.
Tell me what's on your mind.
On the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right. Well, I mean, great show despite the loss last night. Appreciate you, Tommy. Missed Mitch Thunder Nellis. He's working different shifts. I mean, just a shift worker out there doing his thing. So
if they did a draft report on each of our shows here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, versatility, the RAS score, off the charts for the Mason Crosby.
Mason Crosby show is versatile.
Doesn't matter where you put us. We are constant versatility, kind of like a good offensive lineman that doesn't get, thrown at center whenever no one else can do it.
Yeah, just move us around and we're going to be great wherever you want to put us. So.
Exactly.
Talking about greatness, I do want to talk about our picks a little bit. We didn't go over that.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Can you let me know how we did this week? I think I did a little bit better.
You did do a little bit better. Luckily, I did do this math yesterday in case, but I didn't have it quite planned to go on today. So pulling it up right now, Mason Crosby and Mitch Nellis going 4-2, while I went 3-3 this week on our picks. So everyone a little bit better. Everyone a little bit better. Mason Crosby now 26-29 on the year.
Clawing back.
I am sitting at 27-28. Mitch Nellis, he moves to 29-26. So another good run. Good run here. Mitch Nellis is a great sports gambler. I mean, he won it last year too, and now he's in a little bit of a lead, but a lot of season left, as we've been saying all day. Right now, needed that bad for you, Mason.
Well, is it bad that like my kids help me make my picks and they
that's right.
I mean, I'm leaning into that from now on.
Oh,
though. I mean,
man,
yeah,
they're gonna be like pick Yannick Sinner every week, just telling them like go for it, please. Yeah, that is right.
I've been looking for some Yannick Sinner matches. They're kind of like off, like weird tennis matchups. So I'm not sure how to pick them.
Can we put minus 100,000 at a sports book? Like that's exactly
how
what
does this work?
All the Yannick Sinner matches are being.
It's always
bet
a final. He's in every final he ever plays.
Every final. You can't even if you bet him to go to the final, it's probably minus 1,000
exactly
from the beginning of a tournament. Anyway, I really want to give a shout out again to all the veterans out there for an awesome show today that we had Eric Greenlee on and Air Force head coach Troy Calhoun. That was an awesome interview. If you missed that, make sure you go back, listen to that. And shout out to all the veterans still out there. Shout out to the current forces serving our country right now as well. Obviously, I couldn't even have gotten into the Air Force Academy based on my academics, based on what was happening there.
Sounds tough
for Troy Calhoun talking to us about it. But seriously, like the ultimate sacrifice, freedom isn't free. We've heard it all, but want to reiterate it big time today.
Yeah, here on the Mason Crosby Show, definitely. We're so grateful to be able to appreciate the veterans that have sacrificed, helped us with our freedoms to be able to just come on here and talk on the radio, talk about ball as we do every day. Just so thankful for them. My father-in-law is a Navy veteran, so they've been going all around town. They had a veteran breakfast at the middle school, did a parade down in Franklin for the veterans, so he was a part of that. Just so cool. My great uncle is a former Green Beret, so he has some stories. We should get. I was thinking about getting him on. Honestly, we need to get him on sometime just to maybe tell some war stories, which would be kind of wild. Just a different segment there. But yeah, just so thankful for that. I'm just what am I? I'm thankful for my coaching last night. I felt like I had a lot of patience. The 8-year-old girls kind of lost a little focus last night, but I got it. I brought a whistle. Yeah. Which that was helpful.
Multiple whistles, I thought you were saying, right? You got a couple of them now?
I do have a 2-pack just in case one goes out. I mean, you have to be ready.
Yeah, right.
But I was actually thinking about the show too. I'm like, if I'm like yelling at these, like just kind of talking this whole time and like having to get their attention, I'm not going to be able to talk like all week. So, you got to adjust. You got to make adjustments just like this team. So let's talk about that. We got a couple, just a minute and a half. What does this team need to do to get over this break this 2-game losing streak and go to New York and find a way to win this game.
I need to see some nasty. I need to see some grit. I need to see some toughness. I need to see like whatever you channel it as, but O-line needs to be nasty. Like I don't think anyone fears Green Bay. I don't think anyone fears them at all. Maybe they fear Micah Parsons for a little bit.
I think they fear our defense is nasty. Like our defense comes and hits. Our linebackers are solid, and they're going to come in and they're going to lay. They're going to thump you. But offensively, yeah, we don't have any nasty.
Yeah, need some nasty, need some fear, and I need the Green Bay Packers. They're 7.5-point favorites right now against the Giants opening up. We saw that line move by 3 points. Remember by game day last week in favor of Philadelphia last time. But great show today, I thought. And I think the Packers tried to spoil it. They can't spoil us, Mason. So.
Can't spoil us.
Yeah.
I like that. That should be our motto. The Mason Crosby Show. You can't spoil us.
Can't spoil us. The Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. Mason, thank you so much for popping on today. You'll be off tomorrow. It'll be me and Sparky on this show tomorrow.
Right.
So have a good one, and we'll talk to you on Thursday, my man.
All right, man. Yep. Human Wednesday coming up tomorrow.
It's the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by Potawatomi Sportsbook.
Later.
I was